Sponsored by Skillshare. Get 2 months of unlimited access to thousands of classes for free. Link in the description. Samsung's original sin was not being very original. Now, wait, just wait. This one has a 6th Sense ending, so hear me out. I'm Rene Ritchie, and this is Vector. I've gone over the whole concept of copying several times on this channel already. Great artists steal, yes, absolutely, and everything is a remix, for sure. But the key is the remix. The copy has to move things forward, to take what is, build on it, and make it better, to iterate and improve everything for all of us. And for years, maybe for the better part of a couple decades, Samsung didn't do that. They did the exact opposite of that. Before the iPhone, Samsung copied the BlackBerry with the Blackjack. Sure, a lot of Windows and Symbian and Palm devices looked similar back then, but Samsung even jacked the name. They put in black and then blatantly stuck in the word Jack. BlackBerry sued and Samsung dropped the word black and stuck to the Jack, but they were still looking at the mindshare leader and doing that rather than asking what else they could do to become the mindshare leader, to become that. How they could make what's next rather than making what could sit next to it on the shelf. Rather than setting a course for the future, they set out to subsume the present. Following the iPhone, when Apple showed the industry what was next, rather than trying to do to the iPhone and later the iPad what Apple did to Palm and BlackBerry, tablet PC, and netbooks, Samsung conscientiously, deliberately, systematically made their own smartphones and tablets look and work as close to indistinguishably from Apple products as possible. Back then, Verizon, Sprint, and T-Mobile didn't have an iPhone, but Samsung made sure anybody who couldn't switch to AT&T could have something, anything that was just close enough. And they didn't stop with iPhones or iPads either. They shamelessly copied everything from icons to interfaces, plugs to ports, dongles to desktops. They cloned devices like they had Photoshop stamp brush made manifest on the factory floor. And then came the Galaxy S3, when Samsung finally began to visually differentiate themselves from Apple. The shape was less a slab and more a riverstone. The charging was inductive, the sharing a physical tap away, and the screen would even ripple like water when you touched it. But it was just exactly, shamelessly what Palm had done with the Pre several years before. Even for those who rationalized a black slab is a black slab, it was impossible to rationalize a yellow flower on a blue background icon for photos is a yellow flower on a blue background for photos. Or the shape of AC adapters, dock cables, and desktop computers are, forget it. As someone who marveled at the handspring trio, the BlackBerry, the iPhone, the Palm Pre, the Nexus One, seeing the perpetual lack of originality exhibited by Samsung was, Kevin Sorbo level disappointing. But let's be honest, it worked. Hitching their design train to Apple's engine helped make Samsung the most successful Android manufacturer on the face of the earth, and the only truly profitable one, at least for a long while. Sure, it cost them a little in legal penalties, but it saved them a fortune in R&D and marketing. It was totally worth it. But then, again, slowly, things really did begin to change, starting with the Note. Now, the first one wasn't perfect, far from it. Screen hardware wasn't there yet, and the software was, well, what everyone had to live with back then. Likewise, the digitizer technology. But it was different. It felt like it could be what came next. Even though other companies like HTC had made big phones, no one had made anything like the Note. And over the next few years, the Note grew bigger and bolder. The Galaxy S went far more distinctively to the edge. There were still some Me Too designs, but Samsung was starting to develop something far more important, an identity. Now, today, they've gone from look-alike hardware to Galaxy S10 and Note 10, from the chronic disaster of TouchWiz to the much more consistent, much more mature One UI. And while some may say they've gotten boring or repetitive or somehow aren't any longer that crazy cousin Samsung that just threw anything, everything at the wall to see what would stick, that losing headphone jacks and SD cards mean they're hypocrites or sellouts, no longer as nerd-friendly as they used to be, I'll just say whatever. Whatever else you might say about them, it's not that they're copying Apple anymore. No, that task seems to have fallen to Xiaomi and, weirdly, Huawei. But Samsung is still gonna Samsung. Even now, they're pushing out foldable devices before almost anyone else, including Huawei, arguably before they're even fully baked, given the early issues and continued fragility of the screen technology. When I first began this channel, I said I would probably never buy a Samsung phone. And you know what? I was wrong about that. Over the course of the last year, from the Galaxy S10 to the Galaxy Note 10 to even the vision of the Galaxy Fold, as blurry and troubled as that still is, Samsung has crafted a remarkable redemption story. And now, even though I haven't yet, I can absolutely see myself buying a phone from Samsung one day, maybe even the next generation Fold. Just like the Note, they're gonna get better. And hey, they're already great for Skillshare. I mean, seriously, check out Motion Graphics Part 1, where Kyrgyzak covers all the basics, setting up your After Effects project, introducing workflow and working with expressions using a typical Kyrgyzak scene. RIP, little birds. Seriously, so many birds. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes in photography, video, business, technology. Premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality classes on must-know topics, so you can get better at your job, get a better job, or just learn something fulfilling that's not your job. To sign up, visit the link in the description and get 2 months of unlimited access to thousands of classes for free. Act now and start learning today. Thanks, Skillshare, and thanks to all of you for supporting the show. Apple II, Mac, iPod, iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, AirPods. Apple has produced industry-changing products over and over again. Same with Sony, Trinitron, Betamax and Betacam, Walkman, 3.5-inch floppy disk, PlayStation. There are companies, just a few companies, that can boast long lists of products that are iconic, that changed consumer technology forever. Has Samsung, by virtue of things like the Galaxy S10 and Galaxy Note 10, televisions, and hell, appliances, earned its place on that list as well? That's where you come in. Hit like if you do, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and Samsung smash that bell gizmo so YouTube will actually tell you when the next video goes live. And then hit up the comments and let me know, is Samsung now iconic? Thank you for watching. See you next video.